Welcome your host, Caddy Frink, as she leads discussions about substance use disorder and the journey to recovery. You're listening to Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution.
Gotta just wait for that music till I hit that kind of heavy beat. There we are. Hello, 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 everybody. My name is Caddy Frink here on Redefining Recovery, Recovery Revolution. I missed y'all last week, but you had Sarah and Eli, and they had a great conversation. So welcome to listening to Redefining Recovery, Recovery Revolution here on AM 950, the Progressive Radio Station. And I am going to have the co-human across the table from me introduce herself. Who are you?
Hi, Miss Caddy. Cynthia Munguia, the Executive Director at Minnesota Recovery Connection.
In other words, my boss.
We make a fantastic team.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Well, we are here to have a conversation, but first and foremost, representing Minnesota Recovery Connection and all the great work that we do, I want to give an incredible thanks to all the personal donors that give their time, energy, and always welcome financial stability and donations to Minnesota Recovery Connection. We cannot do this without you on all those different layers, right, Cynthia?
Indeed.
It takes a village.
It does.
It takes a big old village.
Taking a community to keep our, programming going.
Yeah. So what's right with you today, Miss Cynthia?
I was thinking about that on the way over here.
Were you?
What's right with Cynthia today?
Tell me.
And what's right with Cynthia today is that I was given an opportunity to just listen and to see just humans, our people, just be real and be raw. And we get to work through that together. That's what's right with me today. And the hope and just the hope that we were at the right place at the right time and we did the right thing. And Miss Caddy, so what's right with you today?
Have to do a little coax on occasion.
Yes.
I know we forget about how we do this. Thank you, Miss Cynthia. Let's see. What is right with Caddy today? I am grateful that we are embarking on spring. It's coming. I just noticed that it is in a couple weeks daylight savings time, so I won't be driving home in the dark anymore. It's kind of like it's at sunset now, so It's okay. But it's that idea that things are beginning to wake up.
Yes.
Wake up a little bit. And we're not there yet. But we're tippy-toeing around the edges.
Yeah, kind of coming out of hibernation.
Yeah, I use my ferns. I've got these big, beautiful ferns that I winter at our office, and there's a lot of growth going on lately. So I think they go into sort of a little bit of a dormant phase, but all of a sudden I'm seeing like these sprigs of green, and I'm like, hello, how are you, little fern friends? And that just makes me feel good. As a gardener, it's like one of my pathways to my own recovery. So it's just, so I'm just grateful that we're chugging along. The weather is going to change, and we're going to find that. So I invited Cynthia to do the radio show today. We probably have a random show about Ready to Bust Loose, but one of the things that comes to my mind is what you just mentioned, and a series that Minnesota Recovery Connection has started, which is about compassion fatigue, but having compassion with ourselves. It's so important.
It is, and being able to recognize that we need that for ourselves, that we can look in the mirror and that we can ask ourselves, are you being compassionate to you? We are so trained, and it's so ingrained in our system as servant leaders within the community to care for others and to always be on the lookout for someone else. And we do that almost automatically on pilot.
Totally automatic, yeah.
That we forget to stop, look in the mirror, and ask the person that's looking back at you, are you being compassionate with yourself today? What have you done for yourself today?
Taking that breath to say, okay, today is another day. And it can be a good day, it can be a hard day, it can be a fantastic day, it can be a poopy day.
Yeah.
And all of those things can happen all at once at the same time.
Yeah.
You can have, I was listening to a program somewhere along the line. No, it was a very good friend of mine who lost her son at a very young age. And it was a speaker that she had, that she wanted to express how she felt as this mother lost a son, similar to my friend, and that joy and pain can live in the same place.
Yes.
Because somebody can, the example was this woman's other child had a child, and she can live in that joy of seeing that child, but then live in that sadness of her son not being able to see that cousin, nephew, whatever they would be. So it's acknowledging the fact that things can be many different things at one time, but to your point, taking stock in how am I today? How am I going to show up? Can I show up?
Right.
You know, and I think that's a lot about having a self-awareness, having self-compassion, remembering to your point that if we just keep giving it out, our cup gets empty.
Right.
And then, in the words of the little book that Sarah quoted, sometimes we just got to be grateful that we got a cup.
Yes.
You know?
And then how do you navigate in those spaces? How do you navigate? As you were talking about that story of that mom losing that child, how do you navigate grief, loss, and joy, gratitude in that space? And I believe today's topics on compassion fatigue and what you have to bring to the table, by the way, to our listening audience, if you have not heard Caddy teach, speak, lead, I invite you to join us on Wednesdays at noon. Information is on our website. I'm just giving a plug here
Sure
to Miss
are.
Caddy. Go to our website, minnesotarecovery.org, and join in on Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Central Time from 12 to 1. And there's one CEU per session. So compassion fatigue coming up over the next 8 weeks. We just had our first one this week. Coming up over the next 8 weeks. This is such an important topic in this day and age. Right now.
Totally, yeah.
Relevant, powerful information. I mean, we had 66 people join us this Wednesday on our first session.
Y'all, I lost my mind. I lost my mind. The grace of somebody giving us a micro grant. So all those funders that are out there that believe in what Minnesota Recovery Connection does, we were able to put together. Patricia Carter was my sidestep on this one, side chair on compassion fatigue. And the interesting part is that when I sent out this notice for folks, a couple people, they started joining on Monday. I'm like, no, it's not till Wednesday. It's not till Wednesday. And then they joined on Tuesday. I'm like, no, it's not till Wednesday. And then they joined Tuesday or Wednesday morning. I'm like, it's not till noon.
Yes.
Which really told me that it speaks to what's going on.
The need.
The need for, our cup is run empty right now, being the state of Minnesota, the field that we work in with substance use disorder, the exhaustion we have with sometimes just dealing with day in and day out, the changes that can take place in people's lives. And if anybody has ever been on Zoom out there in the big working world and you got a class that's coming on and you're sitting there at your computer and all of a sudden it starts pinging that people are showing up, y'all, I got more and more nervous every time it pinged. I'm doing a radio show and I'm freaking out behind my Zoom screen with this ping, 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 ping. I'm like, how many people are going to show up for this? And you know what? It was the most satisfying thing, terrified at the same time. But it was the most satisfying thing that people were buckling in. Yeah. They were sitting down for an hour, and I saw and I heard people go, I really needed this. So when we come back from break, we're going to talk about some of those topics and maybe how we've managed, how we have as women in recovery, women of an age, and then seeing our work friends, our life partners, our community come along on all this. So thank you for listening to Redefining Recovery, a Recovery Revolution. My name is Caddy Frink with Cynthia Munguia. I always mess that up. I love you, but I mess that up. Thank you for listening here at AM 950, the Progressive Radio Station. Thank you.
This year of being alone, I can feel it in my...
I do love our logo.
Isn't it fabulous? Welcome back, everybody, to Redefining Recovery, a Recovery Revolution here on AM 950. And Cynthia was making a comment because she's staring right at the big board in back of me, and it has our new logo. What do you like about it, Cynthia?
I love our new logo. It's just that blue in our... The messaging that our logo says, it really talks about our three pillars, offering peer-to-peer services, education, and advocacy. That's what we do, and that's what those logos speak of.
And it's, I think, as Minnesota Recovery Connection continues to evolve and change and grow and become the next iteration of itself, it is... it's just interesting. We get to make this like pretty change. You know, we're adding, we had these nice, beautiful, muted colors that just spoke to the recovery community. Now we're like a little bit bright and sassy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Young and energetic.
Energetic, yeah.
And it speaks to our group. It speaks to our team. As the younger generation comes in and they're growing and they're learning and they're walking in their recovery and they're learning how to be leaders in the field.
Yeah.
And that's the message behind it, and that's the energy behind it, is that we have a team of young leaders coming up and that get to redefine recovery.
Oh my goodness, listen
Look
to
at
that. How we
that.
did that, redefining recovery.
Yes.
It is a revolution.
It is.
It is a change that is happening, for sure. I was just talking to somebody today. You know, we talked to so many people all through the week. I was talking to somebody and I was talking about how we evolve in recovery, how we evolve and change, and we go through these different phases of life. And dialing it back only for a hot second about compassion fatigue, just because I'm kind of proud of this, I'm kind of proud of it, is that we're doing 8 parts on compassion fatigue. And Cynthia is going to talk about how we are looking at the seasons that we go through in life. So there's times when we have to take care of ourselves. There's times when we have to recognize our trauma. That's another one of them. There's another time when we have to set our boundaries. What are our healthy boundaries? What are not our healthy boundaries? How do we manage our mental health and physical health? There's all these different phases that we go through in this recovery journey. So talk a little bit about what we were sort of mentioning, which is that seasonal thing that you were mentioning.
So as we go through life, whether we're in our first 1/3 of our life, which is our young childhood, young adolescent years, young adult years, I like to look at those in parts of 3. That's our first season of life. We have a lot of learning to do. We're doing a lot of experimenting, experiencing so many different things, and that sets us up for our mid-season, our secondary season, and that's where we're really starting to work on ourselves, and we want to become who we dreamed of becoming. What do you want to be when you grow up? And we have that benchmark, and we work hard to get to that benchmark, and oftentimes we don't make it. We fall short. But then I find myself right now in my 3rd season where I'm going into my adult years, where I
Biggie adult.
Yes, biggie adult. And we're looking at, I'm on the 5th floor, almost on the 6th floor is what I like to call it. I'm approaching the 6th floor. So this is my 3rd station life, right? And this is my 3rd season.
I love that.
And as I enter my 3rd season, I can look back and I can see, oh my God, what have I gone through? Look at what I've gone through, everything that I've experienced, things that I've learned, where I made mistakes, major mistakes, and where I saw myself grow and when I blossomed and I was really proud. But in those seasons, there are times when we do hit this place of we are fatigued. We are out. We're burned out. We've gotten to the place where we've stopped caring for ourselves. We stopped looking at the secondary trauma and paying attention to the secondary traumas and the vicarious trauma because of the work that we've been doing. We stopped setting those healthy boundaries. We stopped looking at our mental and physical health. And then it starts to kick in. And then it all compounds. In that compounding of that of not caring for ourselves, we pay a big, hefty price for that.
Well, I think that's where substance use kind of steps in. When we stop looking at ourselves and we stop sort of paying attention to what's going on, I hate to say it, there's like an easy out, which is like, hey, I'm going to go to a bar, I'm going to go to someplace else, and I'm going to get some relief. And then what happens is then we have to look at maybe the wreckage that happens. I was just talking to somebody at work today, and he was talking about how he has a strong family member who he didn't always listen to. And Grandma, love you up there somewhere, wherever you are. I didn't listen to her either. I'm like, can you take care of yourself? Why don't you just stop? I'm like, 'cause I can't. Because I haven't, like you said, looked in the mirror. I haven't recognized that there's this exhaustion, this I don't have it anymore. So the only way I know how to get it is to just walk away from it, which is going to a substance or going into activities that are going to feed me in all the wrong ways.
Right.
And it really comes down to acknowledging the fact that we get tired.
Yes.
We get worn out.
Yes.
And that's why we talk about these things, about recognizing when people, your family, your friends, your children, your parents, your grandparents, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, when people are those constant givers and givers and givers, once they have given to a point where they don't got no more, that's sometimes where people can, really can fall off a proverbial wagon.
Right.
And utilize something just to make the pain go away or just to make it just not.
Yeah. And one of the things that I just want to be mindful of our time, one of the things that in the season that I'm in, I've had 3 years to go through this one particular season. And I joked, I took an international trip and I joked with my team and I said, if you've ever read the book, Eat, Love, Pray, well, I'm going to go take an Eat, Love, Pray trip.
There you go.
And so I went and I took a trip and I did a lot of praying and I did a lot of eating and I did a lot of loving in a way that was healthy for me. Loving the recovery community where I went, being part of the recovery community where I was, engaging and participating and exploring and did a lot of experiential learning. And that part of this season that I'm in brought healing and it brought closure to so many things that had occurred. There's marriage, there's divorce, there's loss of whatever it can be. There's change. Changing from one job to another, that brings on a level of stress. Changing cities, changing locations, all of that, it compounds, and all of that does put a toll on the human being that if we don't take time to really consider, how am I taking care of myself? How am I being compassionate to myself? How do I caretake? How do I take care of myself? And am I addressing these things that are fatiguing me out? Can I talk to someone?
Yeah.
Can I get somebody listen to me? I'm going through something.
Hear me, please. I have to say there was one day that you and I I think the rest of the team were on a Zoom call. And I was so happy. One thing that you told us, you said, you know what, guys? I was tired and I just took a nap. And it was like the middle of the day. And that to me speaks to taking care of self as best you can. We don't live in a world where naps are allowed necessarily, but that's what part of your Eat, Pray, Love was.
Yes.
You took some time to be Cynthia and do Cynthia on Cynthia's time.
Right.
Still support our organization, still support your life, but at the same time, take a nap.
That's
And that's that escape. That's that escape that you took, a healthy escape rather than a different kind of escape that
Right.
somebody might take because they just don't want to feel. Well,
Right.
you're able to take a nap. I mean, I'm all about a nap. I mean, I think a nap is good. And I don't want to use the word proud, but I was just sort of like, that's just so cool.
Yes, where before naps were, and you use the word escape. So before, naps were an escape where I could go and take a nap and I would sleep for hours and bury under the blanket so that I wouldn't have to face something.
Yeah.
So there was a difference in this nap. I took a lovely siesta, versus I'm hiding from the world,
Nice.
sleeping it away.
Yeah. And that's a lot of times what people do, is that they will just take to their bed, take to their sofa, take to
Right.
their weighted blanket. And it's not about being a healthy escape. It's about, I can't cope.
I can't cope.
I can't cope. And it's so interesting when people can't cope. They need people the most, but they're either the most fearful, the most shameful, the most potentially self-harmful.
Right.
They're all those things. So if it's one of those things where we always want to talk about on this program, at least I always want to talk about, if you see something different in somebody, don't just go, oh, they're just going through something. Go ask. Go say, hey, you know what? I've just kind of noticed a little something different about what's going on with you. Maybe it's just who you are today, but I just want to know what's going on. And somebody might say, oh, no, I'm just really super tired lately. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to check in with you in a couple of days and see how you're
Right.
doing.
Right.
That's what this recovery community does. Again, I was talking to Nate, if Nate listens to the program, and he was talking about how currently he's just following through with all the things he has to do. And he feels so good about it. And he said, this isn't the way I was a couple of years ago. I would have just kind of blown this crap off.
Right.
And I said, how does it feel to do what you're supposed to? He's like, it's hard. I said, yeah, it is hard. But you're changing, you're growing.
Right.
You're moving towards a better you, and now you see the better you. And that's a twist. We go from a place of where we didn't want to see ourselves because we were worn out, where our fatigue had overtaken. So we've taken escape route. And then all of a sudden you kind of begin to move back and ooh, this is a little uncomfortable.
It is, and it's a part of developing healthy habits that down the road you begin to see a return on that investment
Yep.
of developing those.
Yeah, and it's, I want to say, I was talking to yet another person. Y'all, I talk to so many people, I can't remember who it is. So I talk to people, and somebody said that it was this wonderful woman at a store that I was talking to. She was talking about her husband who has now got 3 years of not using alcohol. And I said, that really sounds great. It sounds like it was tough for a while. And she said, yeah. And I said, when somebody hits about 3 years, they're getting a little bit more sturdy. And I said, how do you feel? And she goes, yeah, it does. And she's somebody who's never used alcohol before. And I was just like, okay. And I wanted to affirm with her that if you make it to that third, fourth, fifth year, but that third year, that to me, that's kind of like that, you made it over the hump.
Right. Right.
All those different things. And, this is Caddy. I'll talk to a couch because I can get a conversation. But when I can get somebody who wants to talk to me, I'm like, let's go. And it was so interesting to have a conversation with just an average person and me being transparent about I'm a person in recovery. And I mentioned that I had this radio show and she's like, you do? Well, what is it? And it was these conversations with people.
Yeah.
I could tell she let out a little bit of steam when she was talking to somebody she didn't know but got it.
Yep.
And for people who are living with people who are struggling, you can't get it, but man, you can open up your ears and shut your mouth.
Yes. And are we listening?
Yeah. And it's the key to all of this. But it's about substance use disorder. It's about the current events that are going on in the state of Minnesota and in the country, and listening to somebody who maybe you don't agree with, but that's okay. But just don't fight about it.
Yeah.
Listen to the opposing side. And when we care enough to listen, I think it changes the game.
And taking care of our mental health in the process.
Yeah,
Really
absolutely.
being mindful of that.
Yeah. What can you take on? What can you take in?
Right. I know my boundaries. I've set boundaries, and that's part of one of the classes that you'll offer is healthy and unhealthy boundaries. And I've had to set in this season again. Oh, I love the 5th floor. It just brings such insight, and I'm excited for the 6th floor. But
I tell you, the 6th floor is kind of interesting. Just get ready. I'm on the 6th floor. If you're getting the code here,
we're in our 50s
and 60s. Just want to clarify that just a little bit.
And so I hear you have a lot more fun and a lot more freedom in your 60s than you do, your 40s and 50s. Or you get your second wind. I don't know. We'll see. But I know I've developed some boundaries when it comes to this season, given everything that's coming through the airways. I know what's good for me and what's not good for me, what I opt to listen to, and when I've chosen to turn off my TV. I'm done. And remove myself from social media and just read a book.
Yep.
And listen to music, walk my dog, and have a conversation with my dog. And she just looks at me like, she understands, but those are some of the things that I've done to take care of myself in this season, particularly.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Yesterday when I was in class, I talked about sometimes when we don't understand compassion fatigue, we have a tendency to feel like we're lazy, or feel like we don't care, we don't want to do something, we're being selfish. And when I said to the group when we were training, Patricia and I said, how many times have you heard, hey, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps?
Oh my.
Or you're just being selfish, and you should just, get over yourself. And it was so interesting to see some faces on the screen just kind of go, they're just like, I'm on the little Zoom boxes. I had like 3 pages of humans, but I saw and I felt reactions, and I thought, this is why we talk about these different topics at Minnesota Recovery Connection, but just in general, because we have to remind ourselves that we are our worst enemies sometimes. Right. We will beat ourselves up because we didn't get something done, we didn't do something, and it's like, it'll be there tomorrow.
Right.
Just like, somebody can't make it into work. And I said this to the class, and I say it to myself, and like, if I can't make it in, it's not like it's probably not life or death. It'll be there tomorrow.
Right.
And I'll be better equipped tomorrow to deal with it.
Right.
And that's when you're taking that lens of compassion on self, recognizing the fatigue, as you said, setting the boundaries on what you can and cannot do, what's unhealthy, where's your mental, where's your physical, where's your emotional health, on all of these things. Because if we can have a little introspection on ourselves, we can be so much better for other people.
Absolutely. And we've been, especially when we've grown up with this layer of judgment and shame, everything that we do, we may wind up looking at it from that lens of self-judgment and self-shame. Shame is self-hatred at my own expense. And so when I learned that, I'm like, no, I am not going to self-hate at my expense.
Say that again.
Shame. Self-hatred at my expense.
Ooh, powerful.
And I will not do that to myself. If I can't love myself, I can't expect anybody else to love me.
Yeah.
And so that's part of setting those boundaries.
Yeah. And I think that's a thing that happens with people who are struggling with their life being overwhelming, going to substance use, and that is we live in that shameful space and we just don't see the other side. So it's like it's almost impossible to get to that next layer. And what we're here to tell you as women who, yes, are on different floors in our life, you can make it to that next level, that next floor. You can do it, but it really is about taking care of yourself. Right. And we sometimes have a lot of people that we have to care for around us.
Yes.
But when I'm in my classes with people and I've got moms or I've got parents or I've got grandparents and they're in charge of other humans, I'm like, lock yourself in your bathroom for like 10 minutes. Give yourself that break. If somebody comes knocking on the door, say busy, but those are the things that make the biggest difference is when you actually just step away for a little while and just let the dust settle.
Right.
Because we live in this very busy world where there's so much coming at us, and a lot of us can take it on. We were also talking about multitasking yesterday because somebody in the comments of the class that we did, somebody said, "I've got my camera off because I'm multitasking," and I said, "And multitasking makes us think we're more efficient. Many times it really doesn't." And it's just like one of these things we were talking earlier about how we are told in our society just the more we can get done, the more we can do, the better we are, and the more efficient we are, then it's all going to be okay.
It's not.
It's not.
Because if that were true, where would we be today
Yeah.
as multitaskers?
Yeah.
And we're stealing not just from the person that's across from us, we're stealing from ourselves because we are not being present with ourselves in the moment. I can be on a Zoom call and be typing away, but I've lost 50% of what was said in that meeting. And I can't go back and get it.
No.
But if I stop typing, just put that aside and listen to the speaker and not worry about taking notes, chances are I'm going to walk away with something that was said in that conference call or that Zoom meeting that is going to resonate with me. And I can build on that.
Yeah. It's just, we just think we are capable of so much more than I think we are sometimes because we've been told that that's the way it should be. We're a country that doesn't take vacation time, where we don't take sick days. We don't do things like that, where other countries acknowledge the fact that we need to have a break. We need to have siestas. We need to have that time. And I'm not criticizing our work industry, ours or any other industry, but we're here to tell you that with this group of classes that I have the honor of putting together with Patricia, we get to really talk, and I had somebody observing it that was a good friend of mine, and they said, "Wow, that was really kind of helpful." And then a couple of people gave me some comments back. It's like, "Can I get that slide presentation?" And it's not because I'm fabulous, even though I'm not bad.
Caddy's fabulous.
Well, it's the fact that we're talking about it.
Yes.
That's the conversation. It's not necessarily that what I'm saying, but we're actually, and what happened in this class with all these folks is that people started talking. They started making comments. And a lot of times if you're in a conference, people will talk at you, and I refuse to do that. I have to talk at you to a certain degree, but I want people to comment. And there were some really interesting things. And one of the women, she was very vulnerable. It got the most reaction. So remember, folks, your vulnerability, your ability to say, you know what, I'm just kind of worn out right now. I think I just need to pause for the afternoon, or I'm going to take an extra day off. And it's because I'll be able to be better for you when I come back.
When I come back, I'll be that much more efficient.
Tapped in, tuned in.
Present.
Yeah.
And with the capacity to give.
Yeah, and we all want to make people happy. We all want to make them peaceful. We all want to live a good life. We want to have enough money if we can, have the home of our choosing, have partners or no partners, or cats or dogs or whatever you have. We all kind of want the same thing, but to get that, we can't be on all the time.
Right.
Because you have to, I think something you've taught me, Cynthia, and that is you just have to sometimes slow down and just ask for what you need. Ask for what you need. And you've done that a couple of times, and it's kind of worked out, folks. Yeah. And I'm like, let's just take it from our boss. She's got some connections. But it's about living in the silence sometimes.
It is. It is. And it's appreciating that and being able to recognize it. When you're in that space, if it's at 3 o'clock in the morning, my times are 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know why.
I don't know either.
My moments are 3 o'clock in the morning when I have that silent time, that ask time, because I'm going in. And I'm going into my source of power, into my source of strength, and I'm surrendering. This is where I'm at, and this is what I can do, and this is what I can't do. And and seeking the help, that spiritual help that I need to do the next right thing. And so we need those. We need those moments to just be able to sit in the silence.
Yeah. We're going to take a break in just a few minutes. And I've got a story about, you just reminded me, I belong to a dream group. And it's with 4 people. And the leader of this fine human gave me a suggestion about something. And so I'm going to share that with us after the break, because it was something that I hadn't thought about. And it's very similar to what you just said. So I want to thank you for listening to Redefining Recovery, a Recovery Revolution here on AM 950, the progressive radio station. I have Cynthia Munguia with me. My name is Caddy Frink. We will be back in a flash and chat with you then. Thank you for listening. We are again redefining recovery, Recovery Revolution here on AM 950 with Caddy Frink and
Cynthia Munguia.
That's my boss, ladies and gentlemen. That's my boss. I want to welcome you and thank you for listening. It's been a conversation about compassion fatigue and also living in the seasons of life, and also remembering that taking time for self is really important. Sarah always talks about self-care, and that is an amazing thing. But recognizing when you need self-care is really what we're talking about. So I gave you a little tip about a group that I belong to. It's called a dream group, and it's with the 4 of us, 4 individuals. And we kind of evaluate another's dreams from, if this were my dream, this is what I would take from it, not trying to evaluate it from somebody else's perspective. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And so I had this dream, and it didn't make any sense whatsoever. And I just kind of like threw it out to the group. And the gentleman who leads the group, he said, here's what I want you to do. He said, sit in silence, like you just suggested, and think about the dream, and don't think about what it's doing next, but think about what it might do beyond where you were thinking about what you wrote down. And I'm like, what? And he said, just sit with it. Sit with it. Don't try to figure it out. Just see if you go into that space in your mind, close your eyes, think about what you did dream about. Where do you think it would go next? And I thought, okay. And it's kind of like meditation in a way. Yeah. And I just thought, okay, I'm going to try that. And many of us have dreams. Some of us have wild dreams. Some of us don't. But dreams sometimes are an indicator that are not a clear message. You know, we think they're a clear message. You know, you're driving down the car and you get in a car accident. You know, be careful, you might get in a car accident. No, it maybe has to do with control, or it has to do with who's behind the wheel or something like that. So I just invite people to just think about their dreams as well, because that's a time when your subconscious is saying, hey, what about this? Half the time we don't remember what we dream, and that's fine too. So anyway, it was just it was a moment where I was like, I was going to be giving myself permission to wind down about something rather than wind up and try to figure it out.
We're trying to figure it out.
Because we're always trying to figure out stuff. And that sometimes isn't necessary. Sometimes we have to take that silence.
Yeah. Yep. And in that silence, you're being very mindful of your spiritual being and who you are and how you are and what you're listening to, what you're paying attention to, what you're giving your power to, or what you're letting steal your power from you.
Yeah.
And so that helps too and when we all want to tie this back to participating in these sessions, in these Zoom sessions on compassion fatigue, but we also, very importantly, we tie it to our self-care when it comes to recovery. How we, in recovery, this can be another one of our tools to help us sustain our recovery pathway and, and our mental health. Because we have co-occurring disorders.
It is.
You know, it is.
It's the chicken or the egg or the chicken.
Right.
You know, always saying that.
And so this is such an important part of my recovery journey. It's an important part of your recovery and many others of our recovery journey. And these are lessons. This is information. It's education.
Yeah.
And if we can take anything from it, what we're supposed to do with our education when we receive it is not keep it to ourselves, but we're supposed to go and share it along.
Yeah.
Because that is where we're able to keep it. That's where we're able to really, it cements itself in our brain and in our heart.
Yeah. Well, I think it speaks to what we do at Minnesota Recovery Connection. As a recovery community organization, we are to build community. So what we have, we share.
Right.
What we have, we give. Our lived experience is something that we can say, I understand. I don't get your whole journey, but I get it because I understand addiction. And addiction is a tough thing to kick. So it really does dial back to it. So I'm just going to quickly run through what we have coming up, folks. So very proudly, we get to have Wednesday, March 4th, we have self-care and compassion fatigue. How do those two fit together? Wednesday, March I can't see.
18th.
18th. I'm going to put on my glasses here, folks. I'm of an age. Secondary trauma and vicarious trauma. Trauma plays such an incredible part of the journey that we're on. Wednesday, April 4th and April 18th. And March 4th, we have healthy and unhealthy boundaries. Wednesday, March 8th, we have mental and physical signs of compassion fatigue.
That's April 8th.
Did I do it April? Okay, I can't.
Yeah, Wednesday, April 8th.
I
from
can't
12
figure
to
out which
1.
months they are, folks. Yeah, it's getting to be that time.
That time.
Okay, so April 15th. Then we have caretaking. There's caretaking and caregiving. What's the difference? We really thought that was an interesting topic because many of us are caretakers and some of us are caregivers. And how do we define that? So then on April 22nd, we have compassion fatigue. Fatigue is not addressed. If it's not addressed, what can happen? And then on April 29th, the last one, it's really going to be a recap of what did people take away from this series. I'm going to be asking for input on what would be something that we want to close down this particular topic on. And you can find this information on minnesotarecovery.org, our website, Minnesota Recovery Connection. Right on our front page, you'll see, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see all of these bubbles and you can see which topic you want or all the topics. And as Cynthia said, anybody who's in the recovery community and they want to get a continuing education unit, this applies to almost all modalities. I made sure about that. So it's one continuing education unit because that's the other part of our work, right, Cynthia? Is education.
It's education. That's one of our pillars.
Yeah, we got to make sure that we're helping people learn along the way. And what is so important to me is that we got to take care of ourselves because if we can't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of anybody else.
We can't.
It's just not even possible, folks.
And it's not selfish.
No.
It is self-love.
It is respecting yourself at the very most. And I think that's one of the struggles that people that are trying to figure out their journey in recovery, and that is, well, if I just spend all this time on me, then what am I? Who am I? I'm being so, as you just said, selfish. And I've said before, and that is, if I don't put myself number one, I got nothing left for anybody else.
Yeah.
And I had this little grandma who was my life. And I even had to say, not necessarily to her because it might not have rolled well with her, but I said, you're number 1.5. I'm number 1, but you're 1.5. And other people have to follow behind me because I'm my most important thing. And that's what we got to take care of in our recovery.
Yeah.
It's not selfish.
And it was a hard lesson to learn.
Ooh.
It was a hard lesson to learn, and it was difficult to accept that we needed to stop. And sometimes it's a season where you're not giving anything to anybody for a season.
Yep.
Because it takes however long it's going to take for you to get to the place where you're healthy, where your cup is full, before you can go out and serve.
And if that time takes longer than somebody thinks it should, it's none of their gosh darn business.
It's okay.
It is so okay because everybody has a different timeline in life. Everybody's, to your point, at different seasons. So sometimes people's journey takes longer, sometimes it takes shorter.
Right.
And what we want to do is we want to say, hey, what can I help you along the way? Or do I just need to just be present and not tell you anything? Can I bring you food? Can I watch a movie with you? Can I be present with you?
Right.
Because sometimes it's not about what you can do, it's just being there.
Yeah, and for those of us in recovery, oftentimes we're late bloomers.
Yes.
Because we've spent a large part of our life lost and suffering, that when we finally got into recovery and we got a good amount of recovery time underneath, now we can bloom where we've been planted. So it's okay to be a late bloomer. It's fabulous. I'm on the 5th floor, and I'm a late bloomer, and I'm excited about it.
I'm a late bloomer,
and
too.
I'm loving life.
Yeah, it's good. So, you know what, y'all? I am so grateful to be here doing this program, Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution, having you listen to smart people all the time talking about life in general. So thank you for listening. Yes. Cynthia, say goodbye to the folks.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Caddy, for having me here.
Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your day, and we'll catch you on the fly. Thank you for listening to AM 950, the progressive radio station, Redefining Recovery, a recovery revolution. Bye-bye.